Ever feel like you just need to hit the pause button on everything? Like the world's on fast forward and you're stuck trying to keep up?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all get that feeling sometimes.
Well, today we're diving into something that's been a source of peace and quiet for, like, forever. Bath rituals.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about a quick scrub in the shower here. It's about taking that time, that intentional time to create a moment of calm, you know? And honestly, with how busy life is these days, figuring out how to make your bathroom feel like, well, a sanctuary, it's more important than ever.
Right. And, going through all this research, it's amazing to see how bath rituals aren't just some trendy thing.
Hmm.
They've been around for centuries across so many different cultures.
Yeah.
We looked at everything from modern spa guides to historical texts and the connection between bathing and well-being. It's a constant. So for our listeners, this isn't about jumping on some new fad.
Right.
It's about rediscovering something truly ancient and powerful, this practice of mindfulness and rejuvenation through bathing.
I love that. So, to kick things off, let's start with the bathroom itself. I mean, it's not usually the first place you think of when you think relaxation, right? But all our sources emphasize this idea that even small changes can make a huge difference.
Totally.
First up, declutter.
Yeah.
It sounds basic, but when you think about it, all those bottles, the extra stuff lying around, it's a visual noise.
It is.
Getting rid of that clutter, it's almost like a visual exhale, just instant calm.
It's true. A less cluttered space, like physically, it really does help quiet the mind too. It's like fewer distractions for your eyes, fewer distractions for your thoughts.
Yeah.
And the other thing that came up a lot in the research, lighting.
Oh, yeah.
That harsh, bright bathroom light. Not exactly relaxing.
Yeah, not at all.
Softening things up with dimmer lights, maybe some candles, unscented ones, especially if you're using essential oils later on.
Good point.
It makes a world of difference.
And we can't forget about comfort. Like, imagine finally sinking into a warm bath, and then you reach for your towel, and it's like rough and scratchy. Ugh.
Not exactly the vibe, right?
Mm.
A soft, fluffy towel, that's a must. And honestly, a bath pillow, game changer.
Oh, yes.
Especially if you tend to carry tension in your neck and shoulders,
Yeah.
it just lets you completely melt in.
I actually think a lot of people overlook that. And here's another seemingly small thing that actually makes a big difference. Having a little table or stool nearby.
Oh, I like that.
Because then you can have your book, your tea, some calming music, whatever helps you relax, right there within reach.
Right?
You're not tempted to get out, break the mood. You've created this little oasis.
Yeah, that's so smart. Okay, so we set the stage, right? Now, the water itself, it might seem obvious, but the temperature, it's actually super important. And most of the sources we looked at recommended aiming for between 90 and 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm. Or 32 to 40 degrees Celsius.
It's about finding that sweet spot, warm enough to relax your muscles, but not so hot that it gets uncomfortable or, even dehydrating, which some sources mentioned as a risk. Yeah, and I think it's less about having an exact number and more about paying attention to how the water actually feels. You want it to be inviting, to make you want to just sink in. And that tip about starting a bit warmer if you're planning a longer soak,
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
because the water will naturally cool down over time.
It will. Okay, so the stage is set. The water's perfect. Now comes the fun part. What can we add to the water to really take things to the next level?
Right.
This is where the research got really interesting. Epsom salts came up a lot. It seems like a classic for a reason.
Yeah, and the reason people use them, it's for muscle recovery.
Yeah.
The thinking is the magnesium in the salts can actually be absorbed through your skin. Now, the science is still a bit iffy on that, but a lot of people swear by it.
They do.
They say it helps with muscle soreness, even sleep. And, it's cheap, it's easy to find. Then you have essential oils.
Yeah.
This is where things get really fascinating because scent has this direct connection to our emotions through something called the limbic system,
Oh, interesting.
like lavender. It's a classic for relaxation. Eucalyptus can be great for opening your airways. And citrus scents, they can be really energizing.
I did not know about the limbic system connection, but it makes sense. I always feel so relaxed when I smell lavender.
Right. And it's not just the oils you buy. You can also use fresh herbs, things like rosemary or mint.
Oh, yeah. Fresh mint.
That's invigorating.
It is. And our sources mentioned even simple things like Himalayan salt, which is supposed to be good for your skin, and baking soda.
Right. Baking soda softens the water, makes your skin feel smoother. It's really about finding what you like, what feels good for you.
I like that. Okay, now I want to talk about some of the more specific bathing traditions we came across. The Japanese Ofuro ritual really stood out to me.
Oh, yes.
It's not just about, throwing in some bath bombs. It's a
Yeah.
whole different approach.
It is. What's interesting is the intention behind it. You usually start with a shower, like a really thorough shower, to
Mhm.
clean yourself before getting into the bath. And the bath itself, it's usually just plain hot water, no additives, no bubbles. It's about quiet reflection, about just being present with the heat.
Interesting.
It's more about ritual and mindfulness than just, getting clean.
Wow, I love that. And then there's the idea of a specific bath ritual to help you sleep.
Right.
Like for those nights when you just can't seem to switch your brain off, the timing is important here. Our sources said to aim for about 90 minutes before bedtime.
Yeah, and the key ingredients they recommended were Epsom salts, again for that muscle relaxation, and lavender essential oil. We know that helps with sleep.
It does.
Combine that with slightly cooler water and dim lighting, and it all works together to signal to your body, okay, time to wind down. And they also mentioned spending about 20 to 30 minutes in the bath, focusing on your breath, taking deep, slow breaths.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, but realistically, we're all busy, right? So
What?
how do we actually make these bath rituals a regular thing, something we stick with?
Right, good question.
Yeah.
And that was something all our sources addressed. They really stressed treating your bath time like an actual appointment.
Put it in the calendar. Make
Exactly.
it non-negotiable.
If it's in your schedule, you're way more likely to do it. They also talked about having everything you need ready to go, like your Epsom salts, your oils, your candles, whatever you use.
So you're not scrambling around looking for stuff.
Exactly. And a dedicated playlist can really help too. Like as soon as that music starts, your body knows, okay, it's bath time, time to relax.
Oh, that's a good idea. And setting boundaries, like letting other people know, hey, this is my time. I need some space.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because if you're constantly being interrupted, it defeats the purpose. And that little tip about the bath tray,
Oh, yeah, I
it
love
just
it.
adds that feeling of luxury, of having everything you need right there without having to get up.
For sure. But beyond the practical stuff, a lot of the sources talked about mindfulness. Like, how do you make your bath more than just, sitting in water? And one simple thing they suggested was to start by taking 3 deep breaths as you get into the bath.
It's so simple, but it really helps to shift your focus to the present moment. They also talked about doing a body scan, which is basically just mentally checking in with different parts of your body. Notice any tension you're holding, but don't judge it. It
Right.
helps you connect with how you're feeling. And then just taking a moment to appreciate this time for yourself, to be grateful for it.
I like that. And just paying attention to the sensations, the feel of the warm water, that weightlessness.
It's like a form of meditation, really.
It is. Some sources even suggested doing some gentle stretches in the bath, or, if you meditate, that's the perfect time.
Yeah, it turns the bath into this container for mindfulness. You have this dedicated time and space to connect with yourself, with your breath, away from all the usual distractions.
I love that. Now, sometimes we need a bath for specific reasons, and our sources had some advice for that too. Like for post-workout recovery, they recommended using more Epsom salts than usual and adding peppermint essential oil.
Right, because the peppermint gives you that cooling sensation. And then the Epsom salts, again for muscle relaxation. They said to keep the water temperature moderate and only soak for 15 to 20 minutes.
So you don't overdo it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if you're feeling a bit under the weather, they suggested fresh ginger and eucalyptus, slightly warmer water, and even a pinch of mustard powder.
Really? Mustard powder.
Yeah, apparently it's a traditional thing to help with circulation.
Hmm.
But for this type of bath, they emphasize keeping it shorter, like 20 minutes max.
Got it. I feel like we've learned so much already, but there's clearly so much more to discover about bath rituals.
There is. All this research just scratched the surface.
Our sources mention so many other possibilities.
Oh yeah, we're talking milk baths, herbal infusions, learning about different essential oil blends, using fresh flowers.
And that's just the ingredients.
Right, then you have the whole ambiance side of things.
Well, yeah.
Creating that perfect atmosphere with candles, using bath trays safely, and even tips for making it romantic.
Ooh, romantic baths. That's an episode for another time. But on a more practical note, they also mentioned some advanced techniques.
Oh yeah, things like detoxifying charcoal, fancy adult bubble baths made with natural ingredients,
I like that.
and getting into the science behind it all.
Yeah.
Warm versus cool water, learning about meditative breathing exercises, and even making your own bath teas.
That sounds amazing. And then there's the whole historical and wellness angle. The history of bathing, post-bath skincare routines, detox baths, cold water therapy.
It's really fascinating.
It is. It's clear that bath rituals, they're more than just a bath.
Right.
They're a whole practice.
And I think the key takeaway from all the research is that it's not about having the perfect bathroom or spending a ton of money on fancy products.
Right.
It's about carving out that time for yourself, that intentional space.
And that can look different for everyone.
Exactly.
You don't need a spa to create a meaningful ritual. Just start with what you have. Experiment. See what feels good. And remember, the most important ingredient is you, your presence, your intention.
And like with anything that's good for you, consistency over perfection. Even a short, regular bath can make a big difference. It's about weaving this into your routine so you can consistently disconnect, reset, and emerge feeling refreshed.
So as you think about everything we've talked about today, here's a question to consider. How will you create your own perfect bath ritual? And maybe even start today.
Yeah, that's a great question.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up for today. Until next time, happy bathing, everyone.
Happy bathing.